Actors in Hollywood are great at portraying others, but many have real issues just being themselves. Low self-esteem, rocky childhoods, abuse, and more can all play into the hand of addiction that grabs these actors by their throats. Addiction is a tough and cunning adversary. Wrestling with any addiction is life-changing, but addiction can be beaten. In Part 1, we looked at the temptations and pressures Hollywood can bring to actors, and how some of these talented professionals became addicted. Addiction is a serious condition. While Hollywood delivers beautiful images of its amazing actors, the true image of their plight with addiction is far from pretty. We have already discussed in Part 1 Macaulay Culkin, Matthew Perry, Charlie Sheen, Ben Affleck, and Amanda Bynes. Now let's look at the last 5 actors on our list as we continue with Part 2 of 10 90s actors who beat addiction. At number 6, Robert Downey Jr. While some in the industry shift careers to avoid the spotlight and pressure that comes with it, others stand their ground as proof that you can be a lotus in the mud. And the story of Robert Downey Jr. is most inspiring. Yes, the Iron Man. But before he was a Marvel icon, he was lost, very lost. Back in the 90s, Downey was untouchable. He was Oscar-nominated in his 20s and dripping with charisma, landed major starring roles in classics. On the surface, it appeared he had everything working for him. But behind the scenes, it was a whole different story. Downey was exposed to drugs at the age of 6. But it wasn't just by accident, no, his own dad gave him weed. Downey's father straight up admitted he introduced his son to marijuana and cocaine as a child. And from that moment, addiction was lurking in the background, waiting to take over. But even with all that chaos and insanity, Robert Downey Jr. was a star. By the mid-80s, he was killing it, with Saturday Night Live, Weird Science, and The Pickup Artist. But then came Less Than Zero, a rich kid spiraling into addiction. A movie which was not just a role, but became real life for him.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions about the nature of an addiction like yours? And yours really must have had you by the throat, apparently, right?
By the 90s, his addiction had its claws in him so deep, even his tremendous talent couldn't save him. He was nominated for Academy Awards for his performance in Chaplin, but instead of basking in success, he was drowning in heroin and cocaine. Then, in 1996, came the first arrest. And from there, his life became just a repeating loop: rehab, arrest, relapse, arrest, repeat. It got so bad that one night he walked into a random stranger's house and passed out in their bed. He missed court-ordered drug tests, which earned him a 3-year prison sentence. An Academy Award-nominated actor was now sitting in a jail cell. And then, Robert's wife, Susan, hit him with the reality talk. "If you don't change, you lose me too." That was the moment back in 2003 he knew had only one shot left, and he took it. He quit drugs cold turkey. But quitting wasn't enough. He went all in. Meditation, therapy, 12-step programs, the whole thing. But even after cleaning up, Hollywood wasn't buying it. To them, Robert Downey Jr. was damaged goods. No studio wanted the risk until Mel Gibson stepped in. He covered Robert's insurance out of his own pocket just to get him back on set. And what a comeback that no one saw coming. Marvel took the biggest gamble in movie history and cast Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. And from there, he shot straight up to the top. Iron Man, The Avengers, Sherlock Holmes all brought in $1 billion box office to his credit. He became the highest-paid actor and an undeniable legend. Number 7. Drew Barrymore. Just like Robert Downey Jr. As father gave him drugs as a child, it was Drew Barrymore's mother who introduced her to drugs and to places no child should ever go. She was just 7 years old when she became a household name with the success of E.T. the Extraterrestrial in 1982. But that early success exposed her to the dark side of Hollywood. And with little to no parental guidance, she became even more vulnerable. By age 9, when most kids were busy playing board games and doing homework, Drew was already drinking alcohol. By 10, she was smoking cannabis. And by 12, she was using cocaine. She was partying at places like Studio 54, a club never meant for children. She was dancing the nights away when she should have been at home safe and sleeping. At 14, her mother finally tried to fix the problem by admitting her to rehab. But things didn't go as planned. And then, at just 15, her parents legally divorced her. Imagine that. A teenager, no parents, no money, no career, nothing left. And this is where Barrymore's real story begins.
Insanity. You do the same shit over and over again, expecting a different result. I was a complete prisoner of my own behavior.
After multiple rehab stints and therapy sessions, she gradually started recognizing the severity of her addiction. She confronted her emotional struggles, her low self-esteem, resentments, and constant need for validation. She found solace in building friendships and a community that helped her heal. She also worked to repair her relationship with her mother, which gave her closure and helped her move forward. By 2019, she made the decision to quit alcohol completely and focus on her career, her personal growth, and her family. Today, Drew Barrymore is not just an actress, she's a producer, an entrepreneur, and a talk show host, where she welcomes special guests to share their stories. Drew Barrymore is living proof that your past doesn't define you. Number 8. Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie's story with addiction is one of the longest battles against the affliction, and fought all alone. No one can deny that Jamie Lee Curtis is a Hollywood legend, but even she, at one phase in life, lost control and derailed her own path. Although the beginning of it was innocent enough, as it all started when a doctor prescribed her opioids after a routine cosmetic surgery on her eyes. But that tiny bottle of pills turned into a decade-long addiction. And even more shocking, she kept it all hidden from the media, friends, and even family. For 10 years, she lived a double life. By day, she was the beloved actress everyone admired. But by night, in the darkness, she was sneaking pills, planning her next fix, and hiding it all from the world.
Talk about your addiction to Vicodin, which is apparently ubiquitous in the country
Yes,
with the opioid problem for many years.
Yes.
For Jamie, her wake-up call came from a loved one. One night, Jamie saw her young daughter playing in the bathtub, and suddenly a thought hit her. If she didn't change, she could lose everything. It was simple, clear, and powerful, as the truth often is, and she was done with the double life. In 1999, she got help, and there was no more stealing pills, no more hiding. She entered recovery and never looked back. Now, after 25 years, Jamie isn't just sober. She's addressing the problem head-on, speaking up about it, and inspiring others to break free too. Number 9. Russell Brand. If I ask you about addiction, you'd probably think of drugs or other substances. But addiction can come in many forms, even legal ones. And that brings us to the story of Russell Brand. The man with a larger-than-life personality was once drowning in addiction, but he wasn't addicted to drugs. So what was his first addiction? It was chocolate. Yes, chocolate. Seems harmless enough, right? Not illegal. But the problem wasn't just what he was consuming. It was why and how much. As a child, Russell was obsessed with food, using it as an escape from the loneliness that haunted his early years. He even struggled with bulimia, purging to fill an emotional void he didn't know how to handle. And in his isolation, he discovered another addiction: pornography. It became his coping mechanism, a way to control something in a world where everything else felt uncontrollable.
Fascinating is that the only community that I've ever really felt actually part of, not outside of, is the community of drug addicts and alcoholics.
But soon, food and porn weren't enough. He started with the usual: alcohol, then weed, and it wasn't long before he fell into the deepest pit of heroin use. And from there, arrests and overdoses. The downward spiral moved so fast, even he wasn't sure if he'd make it out alive. But he faced the question that many avoid at all cost. Did he want to be sober, or did he want to ride the spiral down as far as it could take him? He decided to swallow the hardest pill, choosing lifelong sobriety. But let's be real. Things don't change overnight, especially for someone who couldn't go a single minute without a substance. But he took it step by step, and today, he's one of the biggest advocates for addiction recovery. He openly discusses his struggles and how he pulled himself out of the mess. Number 10. Stacey Dash. Before moving forward, let me ask you, have you ever wondered what taking 18 to 20 Vicodin pills would do to you? With that said, our next actor, Stacey Dash, found out the hard way where she almost lost her life. Before Hollywood glamour, drugs entered her life. She tried drugs at 8 years old, and by 16, her own mother gave her cocaine. With a heroin-addicted father and an unstable home, she was trapped in a cycle of substance abuse.
How bad did this addiction get?
I was taking 18 to 20 pills a day.
18 to 20 Vicodin a day.
She tried to get clean, but a Vicodin prescription for fibroid cyst pain pulled her back in. Due to an overdose of Vicodin, she lost everything. She stated that in the throes of her addiction, she would take over 20 Vicodins in a day. Her body was so stressed and addicted that she developed a severe kidney infection that nearly killed her. Her organs were shutting down, her blood turned septic, and she needed a full blood transfusion. But even after this close call and realization, she still struggled to quit. When she involved her sister to seek professional help, she realized the mess around her. After 10 days in treatment, she finally admitted to it and focused on her recovery. Now, 5 years sober, she's using her story to help others, proving that no matter how deep addiction pulls you under, there's always a way back up. What can we learn from these incredible stories is that life can throw us some wild curveballs, even at the biggest stars. But no matter how tough things get, there's always a way forward. These stories prove that tough times don't last forever. Even in the darkest moments, hope is still there. Sometimes it takes help from others like Stacey Dash and Macaulay Culkin for them to realize and improve their lives. And sometimes it's not us, but our past that holds us back, as Drew Barrymore and Russell Brand teach us that true healing starts from within. If there's one thing to take away from these stories, it's this. No matter how hard life gets, you are not alone. Struggles are a part of life and always will be, but so is healing. Let's keep the conversation going in the comment section. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, and let us know whose story inspired you the most.